Hey guys, thank you for joining me here on another absolutely beautiful 95-degree day here in the forest. This knife here is the Condor Woodlaw. I purchased this about 1.5 years ago from the Baryonyx knife company, and I have used this knife extensively over the past 1.5 years. So I figured it's a great time today to give a nice overview of this knife, talk about some of the specs, talk about what I like, what I think can be improved, and to give my overall thoughts on the Condor Woodlaw after 1.5 years of use. The Condor Woodlaw has a blade length of about 4 inches, and overall, including this pommel at the end, it's about 8.5 inches. The blade itself is made of 1075 carbon steel. It's about 1/8 of an inch thick, or 3.2 millimeters, and it features a full exposed tang. The handle material is gray micarta. It has 2 brass pins and a lanyard hole. I don't use lanyards functionally when I'm in the woods. The main purpose they serve for me is should I drop the knife in the leaves, I'm able to find it relatively quickly with a bright colored lanyard on the end there. Let's talk about the actual grind here for a second, guys. This one here, purchased from the Baryonyx knife company with the upgraded sharpening that Benjamin does, actually came with a saber grind. And while I am a big fan of Scandinavian grinds, they are actually my preferred edge. This saber grind has done wonders in keeping and holding a tremendous edge while in the woods. The blade itself came with a black coating on there, which I pretty much removed immediately because I am not a big fan. On this side, you'll see Condor, and on this side, you'll see El Salvador, where this knife is made. The spine does come relatively sharp. However, it was not sharp up to my standards. So what I did is just take my mill bastard file. I went over the spine a few times, and now it's as sharp as I like my spines to be. The sheaths are tremendous. Nice thick leather. You can see the rivets on the top and bottom. The tremendous stitching. Condor logo on the front, and I just keep a couple of Ranger bands here to hold in Nathan's Monster Ferro rod. Condor sheaths also hold the knives tremendously. Probably one of the better Condor sheaths that I ever received. There's still no retention issues after 1.5 years, and I love it. It fits on my belt perfectly, regardless of what belt I'm wearing, and the knife fits nice and deep in there, which I'm also a big fan of. When we're making tent stakes, we don't want that super sharp point at the end. We want it kind of blunt because we don't want that sharp end to break on us when we're utilizing the tent stake. We have our point at this end, and then we want to round off this end so when you're pounding in your tent stake, it doesn't mushroom and spread out on you. Making our stop notch here. And then cutting in to make our 7 notch. This saber grind isn't bad at all. All we're doing now, guys, is just taking our nice sharp spine and removing some of the bark from the area that we want to work with. The most useful notch for me, guys, is our tent stake that we made. But number 2 is our pot hook. While it's not a Scandinavian grind, you guys can see that I can still score up underneath of that hook. For a very effective pot hook there. For smaller stuff like this, it's a full tang knife and it has no problem at all. So there's a serious drought here going on in the Northeast, especially here in Rochester, New York. So I figured that in the interest of staying on the responsible side, instead of building a big, full, raging fire, we would just go with our ember-lit stove here. The one room for improvement is this little pommel that sticks out of the handle here. I am not a fan at all. A lot of the woods activities and tasks that I do require me to pound on the handle and pound the blade into some wood, for example. This little pommel makes it uncomfortable for me to do that. This knife here, while it's a tremendous knife, runs between $60 and $70, depending on where you look. I haven't been able to find it much more cheaper than that. If I were to recommend a Condor, if affordability is an issue for you, like it always is for me, this took a while to save for me. The Condor Woodlaw is a tremendous woods knife. The Condor Kephart is also an outstanding woods knife. Difference between the three is these two are much more affordable. The Woodlaw I've seen between $35 and $45. The Condor Kephart, especially recently, I've seen between $25 and $35. They all come with tremendous sheaths. All three are 1075 carbon steel. These two knives here on the top and on the bottom come with the traditional wooden handles as opposed to the micarta. So just something to keep in mind if you're on a budget and affordability may be a factor for you guys. I hope I was able to give you guys a nice closer look at the Condor Woodlaw today. Maybe answer some questions and show you some things that you might not have known about the knife or might not have thought of. I would like to thank each and every one of you for joining me. It was great to see everybody, and we will talk to you again down the road, guys. Thanks. Bye-bye.